start here with the Chiefs. If I'm Kansas City, I actually think that Kansas City probably I would say a 60% chance they're going to trade up in this draft. The things they need are cornerback and wide receiver and edge, and I think tackle as well. None of those positions are good right here. Really, none of them. There's a couple of guys you can take with one of these picks, but probably not guys you're in love with both of these picks. So I think Kansas City maybe hangs on to 30 and then takes 29, packages it, and trades on up here, maybe number 19, number 18, somewhere in there, and gets a wide receiver. I think there's a very good chance that happens. But we haven't worked out that kind of trade tonight because trades are very difficult and because we're trying to do this live. So if I'm Kansas City and I'm sitting right here, and this is what I'm faced with doing, I'm going to take David Ojabo out of Michigan. He's an edge rusher. He's very fast. He's actually faster. He's faster off the edge than Aiden Hutchinson. You can see it on film a lot. There were tons of plays in which Hutchinson wasn't double teamed. In a lot of those plays, Ojabo was the first guy to the quarterback just because of his quickness. He doesn't have the moves that Hutchinson has. He's not as polished. He hasn't been playing football for as long. But that quickness is there. David Ojabo is very quick. The hiccup with Ojabo is he's injured, and he may not even play at all this season. If he doesn't, Kansas City, even though they're in win now mode, more or less, they are really in win for the next decade mode. They could afford to wait for Ojabo. The fans there, a lot of them have been wanting an edge rusher for 3 seasons now. They can play without a top edge rusher, but it would be nice to have Ojabo's quickness off the edge, pair that with Chris Jones, even if it's 2023 before it happens. So I'm taking David Ojabo right here at number 29, and that brings us to number 30, which again is not an easy pick because I think you're looking at Kyer Elam, the cornerback. I think you're looking at maybe Daxton Hill. I'm not convinced that Daxton Hill isn't a safety slot back hybrid in the NFL as opposed to a pure cover guy. I also think if you're the Chiefs, you could be looking at Sky Moore, wide receiver. I think they're really looking at Christian Watson out of NC State, but if he's not there, this draft he isn't. If he's not there, then they might be looking at Sky Moore. So for me personally, I think we're going to grab, just because it's a huge position of need, I think we're going to grab Kyer Elam at defensive back if this indeed is where the board falls. And again, I don't think Elam is going to be a star in the NFL, but Kansas City basically is short of 2 cover guys right now. They have safeties. They've got 1 cover guy in L'Jarius Sneed. He can move around all kinds of different positions, but they really need 2 more cover guys, and Kyer Elam is one of the best that is still available on the board. Before I do the Bengals, any thoughts on Kansas City or Cincinnati or what you're seeing right here at this point on the board?
It's a really good draft to need defensive backs. We did this last time too, where Andrew Booth fell to, I believe, 31 all the way to the Bengals. But the way things fall, if it's not Stingley or Gardner, there's going to, that once you get even to that second tier of defensive backs, not Kyle Hamilton, these guys are going to become available once, because like you took Trent McDuffie, what was that, 12? Like that easily could have been anybody else, right? And, it could have been Jermaine Johnson, and then maybe McDuffie falls all the way to this side too. And now you have Elam and Hill and Sign and McCreary and all these guys. So for a team like the Steelers, like I was thinking about this while you were talking about, doing trades. Not that the Steelers trade down in the first round. They haven't done that since 2001 with Casey Hampton. But if I was talking about this team, still has a hole at strong safety. If they want to trade back with the Chiefs and take, the 29th pick and, a 4th rounder just to get some more depth, this is the draft to do that in. If you're, if you are the Vikings and you do want a corner, but you can wait and you want to get 29 and 30 for 12 or something like that, this is the draft to do it if you need a defensive back. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And now that we've done this twice and the same thing has kind of happened, it's definitely an interesting point of view.
I agree. I'm circling some things that we'll come back to and talk about later at the end of our draft. We'll keep on pushing through. This brings us, because I think you're dead on with all of that. There are guys here that might get picked at 12 or 16, 18 that might make it all the way to 27, 28, 30, but it's not the wide receivers and it's not those top 2 or 3 defensive backs. Those guys are gone. But there's some other guys here that are very interchangeable. That brings us to the Bengals. I'm going to draft a guy that I really believe in for Cincinnati. I didn't hand Cincinnati to you, did I?
Nope. That was all you.
I was pretty sure I didn't. Matter of fact, I think I saw Roland do this in his article, and there's a very good chance this can happen. If I'm Bengals, I am very happy with Tyler Lindenbaum from Iowa right here at number 31. Lindenbaum looks like he could be a lock it down starting center in the NFL for a decade. He looks like he could make a lot of Pro Bowls. He looks like maybe he might even have a shot at some All Pros. He looks that good. The Bengals offensive line was horrible last year. They've already made some steps to fix that. They've already done some upgrading there at offensive line. But this would be another huge piece to a roster that's in pretty good shape, really. There's no reason other than that the AFC is stacked that they can't be right back in the Super Bowl. You don't want offensive line to be the reason you don't go back to the Super Bowl. You want it to be that somebody else is just better than you. So for me, this is an easy pick right here. Tyler Lindenbaum, center from Iowa. And I think the Bengals would be very happy with that. I think Bengals fans in general would be very happy with that as well. They don't want Burrow to be on the ground a lot next year. They realize that he's good enough to work through it. You could not have that keep happening to Burrow. I think Bengals fans also realize whenever Burrow gets done with his rookie contract, he's going to be making a whole heck of a lot of money. He might even set the new market for quarterbacks in 4 seasons.
Yep.
So your chance to win is right now, and you don't want to look back and say, if we just upgraded the offensive line, we might have actually won a Super Bowl with Burrow on his rookie contract. So I think this is perfect for Cincinnati. Very good chance this happens. I'm happy drafting Lindenbaum much earlier, but the way the board falls, and a lot of people don't like to draft centers very early, there's a very good chance that he falls right here to Cincinnati. Simon, I know who you drafted last time for the Lions, but I'm going to let you tell everybody, and then we'll see if it's the same thing that you're going to do this time for Detroit.
So the last time around, I took Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder. Did that with the idea that, they still have Jared Goff. They have given all indications that they're comfortable sticking with Goff for this season. I don't doubt that at all. This is not the quarterback class to try and find your next franchise quarterback. That's why we've only taken one thus far in the draft this time around. And that is going to stay the same. I don't think I'm going to risk this last pick, especially with some playmakers here on the board that I still like. So I'm going to skip quarterback this time around. We'll aim for that for next year. I'm going to go Daxton Hill from Michigan with this pick. Shout out Muhammad, helping me out with some of this Lions stuff. Safety is a position of need. They have some nice pieces on the roster, which is why, like you said, Daxton Hill's kind of a hybrid defensive back player. He can play free safety. He can play in the box as a strong safety. He can rotate over and cover guys and the nickel a little bit. With Kayvon Thibodeau and Daxton Hill, I'm trying to kind of revamp this defense, make this a strong defense again. We know this team wants to be that blue-collar, tough, run the ball, bite your kneecaps off, play good defense kind of team. And I passed up on a Michigan man, even with the Detroit team with the second overall pick. So I won't make the same mistake twice. So Dax Hill for me here. Let him play all over the place with an already pretty strong defensive back group with some really good corners and some other nice pieces there. Maybe try to, to be that top guy back there to pair with Kayvon Thibodeau.
We are done drafting. We'll just take a couple of minutes and then we'll close. We'll shut it down. Any surprises on the board that that really stood out, or did the board this time look a little bit more maybe streamlined in terms of talent going at the slots it should?
I think I'd say this time around, it made a lot of sense. I think the wide receivers are definitely, like we keep saying, they're the top 5. I don't think are going to get past. I mean, I'll even say 22 with the Packers. I think that's the latest the 5th receiver will go. I think the Falcons, still taking a receiver, like I said, that's where the draft for me is really going to be interesting. I think those top 7 guys are the top 7. You could sneak one of those edge rushers in there and it wouldn't be too surprising, but I think we got them right there. Let's see. Andrew Booth did not slip this time, which is kind of what I'm expecting. I think he kind of went in the right area in that top 20. And then, that back a little bit there, you have the Cowboys circled. I think that is where it starts getting weird. Maybe even the Cardinals, just because I think they're a little up in the air as well. I think we could see, like, how many more receivers could we see go? Because I think it could be a handful, because who didn't we take? We didn't take Jahan Dotson.
Right.
We didn't take we got George Pickens, and then it kind of drops off from there. So I mean, I won't be surprised if we see 8 receivers taken in the first round this year. And then, then the quarterback. How many teams are going to talk themselves in the quarterback? We just have to wait and see.
There's so much to go on. One final thought for me. I think the reason I circled the Chiefs and the Cowboys, I think there's a very good chance both teams are looking to trade up. They have to be looking at, again, no matter how the board breaks down, at a certain point, it literally breaks down. They have to be realizing the guys we want aren't going to be there at 24 and 29. If you're the Chiefs, maybe one guy you want falls here, but I don't think you really believe that both guys you want at the needs you have are going to be right there at 29 and 30. And the Chiefs have, I think, 12 picks. Somebody said earlier, I can't remember if it was Mel Kiper or Todd McShay, the Chiefs don't have 12 open spots on the roster. There's no reason to keep 12 picks. Do a little bit of packaging. You have enough picks to do it and still get good talent. It won't hurt you to trade up this year. Again, you don't want to trade up every year, but it won't hurt you to trade up this year and get a talent upgrade. I think there's a very good chance the Chiefs move up. I think there's a very good chance the Cowboys move up. I'm still not convinced that even though the Buccaneers haven't mentioned it, they've been totally silent. Why not trade up this year? Because Brady's ready to win right now. Wouldn't surprise me. And I think they have a lot of partners who are willing to trade down. I think the Seahawks might even be willing to trade down possibly, especially if they can get another draft pick for next year. I think the Giants would be a good team to trade down. The Jets might be open to trading down. I think there's quite a number of teams who would be willing to trade down, even as we went through the middle of the first round. I think there's a lot of trade partners here. And even though, you and I could work out all these trades, I think we're going to see a lot of trade in the first round actually come a week and a half from now.
I'm looking at it. Would you have traded those 2 Chiefs picks to go up to anywhere? Like what's the line that you wouldn't package those 2 together to go up to?
I did a little bit of looking at this, and I don't have it right in front of me right now. But yeah, you take 29 and 30. I think I'm willing to go all the way up to maybe 14 or 12, somewhere in there, to get a guy I want. Yep. Basically, Kansas City has all of their picks for next year. They've got picks 50 and 62 this year. Why sit there at 29 and 30 and just take leftovers? Maybe solid leftovers, but leftovers nonetheless. Mm-hmm. why not go ahead and while you've got that capital, trade back up and get a guy you really want? You don't get many opportunities to do that. I would never suggest the Chiefs franchise take a year off, but if you were going to take a year off, a little bit of a breather, this is the year, because everybody in the AFC is ready to win right now. So why not take a year, kind of restructure the roster just a little bit? You've already done it anyway with Tyreek Hill being gone. And then in 23, you're right back up to full bore. And all those other AFC teams, or some of them, not the Steelers or the Ravens, but the other guys, they've had their best shot. Now some of those cap hits are going to start to get bigger and settle in a little bit, you know? So yeah, to answer your question, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm very open to trading 29 and 30 to get up somewhere around 12 or 14. And I think it's going to be too expensive. I think it would take 3 firsts to get all the way up into the top 5 and get what looks like a mega star. But at 12 or 14, I'm very interested, very much.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I don't know if anybody's still listening to this video, but if they are, thank you so much for being with us. Simon, thank you for doing the work tonight. And tell people the different places they can find you if they like your material, if they want to know more about the NFL or the Steelers.
Yeah. So first off, you can come find me and my podcast, the Simon Short Podcast, on Apple and Spotify. Right now, we're doing a ton of NFL and NFL draft coverage. This week, later on Thursday, I'll be dropping an episode full on Steelers draft prep. So be on the lookout for that if you liked what I did here. I just started a project with our very own Ben Parker. Ben, thank you so much for having me on. We're on Sports and Money, Pro Football GM. Every week I'll be dropping something probably around the weekend. It's not too set in stone, but just a quick Steelers segment. That's where I'll be for all of your Steelers needs in the slow part of the off season when my podcast kind of shifts focus. And you can check out all my written work at phantomsportsofficial.com. Right now, I'm in the middle of a series doing the Pittsburgh Steelers big board round by round. I'm picking 10 players in each round that the Steelers could have on their board when they are on the clock. So that's been a lot of fun. Been pretty exhausting, but it's a good time, and I feel like we're ready for draft season. So come get all your draft needs, especially Steelers, over there with me.
Simon, I've enjoyed it, man. Thank you so much for all the work tonight. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Ben. Thank you so much for having me, man. A lot of fun.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great night. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.